guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Felicia. This is Jersey Wife, Jersey Life, brand new YouTuber. Very excited about finally getting some videos out there for my audience. I think I'm up to like 7 of you now. All of your support truly does give me the motivation to keep doing this YouTube thing. I'm really excited, like I mentioned in my last video, to have even 1, created these videos and then 2, get them posted. So thanks again for all of your support. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a plant tour of each of the plants we have in our home. If you would have asked me a year ago if I would ever be a plant owner, I would say absolutely not. Like many other people, I've gotten into collecting plants during the quarantine period because honestly, boredom set in. I've seen a lot of really cute plants in various YouTube videos that I've watched over the summer months, and I thought, why not give it a shot? And the very first plant that I did get, which a lot of folks recommended for people that don't have a green thumb, was a snake plant. And my snake plant, I'll show it to you guys in a little bit, it is doing very well. And that 1 purchase have since turned into over 20. But I love all of my plants, all 20 of them. I do have a good general sense of the types of plants that I like versus the ones that I may not repurchase. But nonetheless, I'll still take care of each of my plants and do my best to have them survive through the winter months. So let's get into the plants. So I'm just going to start with this plant since I'm standing right here. This is our Birds of Paradise plant, which as you can see is extremely tall. I believe we purchased this one maybe like back in June or so. So this is what it looks like. It has grown quite a bit since we've gotten it. This leaf and that one there behind it are the latest plants. I would say that they unfurled maybe about in the last couple months. I'm hoping that it can grow very, very, very tall. And then behind this plant, I have a little shelf here. I believe it's really a bookshelf, but you know, we use it as our plant shelf. So I have a cactus plant here. I believe it's called a bunny ears cactus. This one is doing pretty well. Would I purchase another cactus? Probably not. This pot, I got it from Wegmans, which is a grocery store out here. But the pot actually contained another succulent, which unfortunately has since died. I tried my best with that plant, but I kept the pot. And I feel like it goes nice with the cactus. On the second shelf here, I have my aloe vera plant and my string of bananas. The aloe vera, it's funny because I have it potted within a pot. The gold pot, which we'll focus on, I did get that from Hobby Lobby. The aloe plant is doing pretty well, I think. I did have to cut off the tip of that branch there, unfortunately, but I think it's doing pretty well. That little, if you can see the little skinny one there in the center, that's the latest one that it's sprouting. And then my string of bananas right next to it. We've had this string of bananas now for about maybe 3 weeks now, and it's doing really, really well. As you can see, there's so many of them kind of standing up, getting ready to do their thing and branch over. I do have to clean it up a bit because there are some like dead strings on there. I don't know if you can tell. And I also got this plant pot from Hobby Lobby. We have a little Bromeliad here, and this is one that I don't know if I'm a big fan of it. When they do grow out, they do look really pretty, but this one is just kind of, I don't know, I haven't really seen much growth. Maybe it's just a really slow grower. This could be the dormant period for this plant also, but we'll see what happens there. I've gotten almost all of my plants from Home Depot. And then on this last shelf, I just have 2 empty pots down here. The white and gold one, I got that from Hobby Lobby, and then this cement looking one, I've gotten it from Marshall's, I believe. Now this may look a bit empty, but that's because I removed all of the plants that were on this middle shelf over to my windowsill. Because we do get direct sunlight for about an hour per day, I always move my succulents to the windows so they can get as much sun, as much natural light as they can. So let me go bring them back so you can see them in their home. So there we go. So starting in the back here, I do have some miniature jade. I can't even say plants, it's 1 plant, but it is 2 stems. This one's coming along. It is kind of doing a little bit of a gangster lean, but that's how she looks. And then over here, I have some string of pearls, which I was really excited about. I actually ordered this one online, but I don't know. I feel like it's either growing really slow or something is up with it. But I'm gonna try my best to save it. And this little pot that it's in, it used to be a candle. Now I'm using it as my plant pot. The string of pearls is definitely too small for it, but I put it in there anyways. This plant here, I believe is called a Senecio, or blue chalk sticks is the nickname for it. Definitely one of those plants that needs direct sunlight. And it's also been growing quite a bit with my grow light, which you'll see later. This little succulent here, I don't know the name of it. If anyone recognizes it, please comment down below. I've tried for the life of me to figure out what the name of this thing is. Have no clue, but it seems to be doing okay. I like the little powdery blue tips. It's kind of similar to this one, the color. It's really pretty and it seems to be coming along, but you know, it's just kind of there, chilling, nameless. So this is a string of bananas that I'm attempting to propagate. It seems to be doing okay. I've attempted to propagate some snake plants cutting before, which was a fail. I think that's just a little too advanced for me. Again, not a plant expert by any means, but however, this seems to be doing all right. Like it's standing up nice and tall. We'll see what happens. I'll check back in with you guys in a few months. Okay, so coming over to this side of the room, I'll start with this one. This is my Ficus Elastica ruby, aka rubber plant. They're really pretty. Mine, I thought the underleaf was gonna be a little bit more ruby in color, but it's not. But despite that, I still like this plant. As you can see there in the corner, there's a leaf preparing to kind of unfurl. And then right behind that one, there's another one there that's kind of getting ready to do its thing. And there's some other smaller, like there's one growing there. There's another one coming up, where is it? There. So another one there. It seems to be doing well. I've had to repot this one. As you can see here, this white pot that I have is pretty large, but my goal is for this plant to grow very tall and very full. We'll see what happens, but I was really excited to get this plant. The plant pot, I did get it from TJ Maxx, and this little table that is sitting on, I got that from Hobby Lobby. Right below that, we do have our first ZZ plant. The ZZ plant is hands down one of my favorite plants just because it really doesn't require a lot. All you do is just, you know, make sure you water it. You can clean the leaves. The leaves do tend to get a bit dusty. Mine look a little shiny because I shined it up right before this video. But it is a great plant, and this one here has sprouted quite a bit of new leaves. This bright colored one right here is fairly new. It's actually still opening up. And then there's one right there in the middle that's pushing out of the soil. And then I recently saw another one. Let me see if you can see it right there in the center. That one is pushing up as well. So it's a really good plant. It doesn't require bright lights. I do have it in indirect light. I did have it in another area of the room at one point that didn't get as much light, and I noticed that it wasn't growing as much. So when I moved it a little bit closer to the window, that's when it really started flourishing. And then the pot, I got this pot from Marshall's, and the plant stand was purchased from Walmart. And then right behind the ZZ, we have two Anthuriums. Here's the first one with this beautiful, what has a few beautiful bright red leaves. And then just below that is our second one. Disregard those wires there on the side. Yeah, these plants are, I'm still learning about these. I think they're doing okay. I mean, this one here has some beautiful leaves there towards the end. And if I zoom in, you can see that little red branch. That's another one preparing to open up. So this one is doing pretty good. Again, they're in those Home Depot pots there. Same with the one up top. This one has grown quite a bit. And we did purchase these Anthurium plants at my husband's request. He did share with me that, you know, growing up when he was younger, his mom had some of these in the home. So, you know, we just purchased these in remembrance of her. And then moving over here into this area is our second ZZ plant. Again, it has been doing very, very well. It has a very long stem there at the side. Just give it some water and it'll give you new leaves. There's a new one there coming in on the side. And I could have sworn I saw another one. Oh, there you can, let me twist it around. You see it there? This one is beginning to unravel. And I'm one of those people, I look at each of my plants every single day just because I love when I see new growth. You don't always see things like that happening right before your eyes, but if you check your plants and look at them often, you will begin to notice those things. So I just think it's really cool. And I don't believe I mentioned this with any of the plants previously, but you see those little tan, what looks like breadcrumbs in the soil? That's called mosquito bits. And I made that purchase just because, you know, I began seeing gnats flying and buzzing around a lot of my plants, of course, mainly the soil. And I saw it a lot after I would water the plants. And as I mentioned before, I'm not a fan of gnats or any of that stuff. So I did some research online and some folks recommended purchasing mosquito bits. I'll include a photo there on the side just so you can check it out. These mosquito bits really, really helped. All you do is just sprinkle it on top of the soil, as you've seen me do, and then over time, it eventually and slowly gets rid of the gnats, which it's done for us. So it works very well, and I would highly recommend it. And it's in the same plant pot as the previous ZZ. And then besides that is our money tree. This is what she looks like. The money tree has been doing really well. I would say out of all of the plants, this one produces leaves very frequently compared to the other plants. I did have to prune it recently just because I noticed that all of the new growth was kind of happening in the same section of the plant. And I felt like it was just kind of overcrowding. It was fighting for space and it just didn't look right. So I cut it back quite a bit. And it has since, I would say within a few weeks time, it has regrown. So it's doing pretty well. And I'm trying my best to braid the trunk, but we'll see how that goes. And in the pot, I got the pot from Marshall's. And then right below the money tree is our latest addition, which is this little mini orchid. Still doing some research on this. We purchased it because I just thought it was really cute. I don't think I've ever seen a mini orchid before. So I thought this would be a nice introduction to orchids. It has a few bulbs there in the front, as you can see. And the thing that really sold me on this mini orchid was to care for it, all you have to do is just simply add 1 ice cube per week. That's it. Nice and easy. Moving over to this side of the room is my snake plant, 1 of 4. This one happens to be the very first plant that I did purchase. I love the snake plant. Again, I've been through a lot of trial and error with this plant, mainly repotting it several times. When I first purchased it, didn't know what I was doing with plants. I repotted it directly into this very large pot and it was fine, but I like the way snake plants look when they have like a full look, when they're like bunched together. And then this pot, it has a drainage hole, but it's very small. So I decided to go back to Home Depot and I got this little nursery pot that it's now sitting in, which has a ton of holes. And then I placed it back in this pot just because I like the way it looks in this pot. You can't really tell that, you know, the pot is like extremely big for the nursery pot, unless you're like looking down at it. But besides from that, I really like the plant. I like the way that it looks. It looks full. And as I mentioned, I got the plant pot from Home Depot. Right below that, we have a little Haworthia Attenuata, or a zebra plant. This is what it looks like. This plant, you know, like many other succulents, you know, we give it water very infrequently and we just kind of forget about it. One, because it's down here. Two, because, you know, it doesn't really require a lot of fuss. It doesn't even require a lot of light, really. But one day my husband and I, we were sitting down on the couch watching TV, and we were looking at it and we said, did this thing grow since we last saw it? And sure enough, it did. It's been growing quite a bit. And then moving over to this corner, we have our second snake plant. This one's slightly smaller than the original one, but again, I repotted it. I placed it inside of a little nursery pot, as you can see there. And I put it in this little medium-sized pot that I got from Marshall's, which I really love. I like the little leaves there. And yeah, she's smaller, but she still has like that full look. And again, very tall leaves there at the top. And if you see this little like stick thing that I have there, this is just like a plant prop. If you notice your plant's kind of drooping over, which doesn't necessarily indicate that anything's wrong, not all the time at least, but I prefer not to have it drooped over, especially with my daughter, because she would have so much fun with that. So the plant pot is helping to train that leaf to stand upright. And then just below that, I have another zebra plant. This one is called a Haworthia Fasciata. Similar to the other Haworthia, you know, you just kind of water it and you leave it. And I let the soil dry out completely before I re-water it. I try not to overwater them. And you can, you know, touch it. It's not pointy or spiky or anything. And if I haven't mentioned it before, these like double-decker stands, I got them from Home Depot. So now moving into my daughter's room, we have yet another snake plant. This is her little mini snake plant, which has grown quite a bit since we purchased it. Especially this one right here. This one is really tall compared to when we first brought it home. We do keep it on top of her little dresser here behind her nightlight. We try to keep it as far away from her reach as possible. In general, she doesn't really mess with any of the plants at all. I guess because she sees it all the time, so she's just used to having them around, which is great for me. So I really don't think if it was a little lower, she would mess with it, but I think this little bright pink, it's not really a nursery pot, but I do remove the bottom there because it does have draining holes, because I prefer not to get these pots here at the bottom that you've seen previously wet, although they do have self-watering holes at the bottom, but I just still prefer not to get it wet, so I keep it in here. I also like the little pink pop of color for her room, but I feel like if she saw this, she may assume that it was a toy or something that she can play with. But again, for the most part, she doesn't mess with it. Okay, moving into me and my husband's bedroom, we have our final snake plant, snake plant number 4, and this is what it looks like. This one's a little bigger than my daughter's snake plant, but much smaller than the ones we have in our living room. Again, I love my snake plants, each and every one of them. This one also looks pretty full for its size. And yeah, you know, we just kind of water it. It does get quite a bit of light in this room, in this corner. Our window is directly behind me, so it does get a decent amount of light, but not bright and definitely not direct. So this is what it looks like. And you'll notice that in this one, I did add some rocks to the soil just for aesthetic purposes. And it looks okay. And the pot, I got it from Home Depot, and then I have that same double-decker stand. And then last but not least is our final plant, which is another money tree. I think this one is called a bonsai money tree or a money bonsai tree. I'm not 100% sure. This plant, I did purchase it from Lowe's in the clearance section. It was like $5. And it wasn't really bad shape. Just about all of the leaves were like crispy, crunchy, dying, so I had to pluck them all off. When I brought it home, I did take out all of the soil. I added some fresh soil. I added a combination of regular potting mix with some perlite, and I think I added just a little bit of cactus soil. I just added it in there to see what happens. Honestly, I didn't add it for no particular reason, but it's doing really well. As you can see here, I'll bring it in a little closer. There's a new leaf coming up there on the side and one there behind it. There's also another one here coming up, and you know, I think there's also one here, right? This little tiny one here beginning to open up. So it seems to be liking its new home and the new soil concoction I gave to it. Here's another one here. And then the leaves up top here, I was able to kind of salvage those. But yeah, this is what she looks like. And you know, I kind of purchased this just to kind of test out my green thumb to see if I can bring a plant back to life. And I purposely decided to go with this money tree again, because money trees, for me at least, they produce so many leaves very frequently. So yeah, it's doing really well and I'm really proud of myself. I also added some rocks to this one as well, and this is the pot that it came with. So yeah, I'm proud of my little bonsai money tree. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Again, I'm by no means a plant expert, so definitely don't take my word as bond. There's other experts out there who I've been watching. Planterina, she's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head, but I will leave a few videos down below of each of the plant YouTubers that I've been following. I know Crazy Plant Guy, he's another one, he's really good. So I did want to show a close-up of the grow light that I use for my plants at nighttime. Where we live here, we don't have a south-facing window, which is essentially a window that provides your room, your home, with very bright direct sunlight. A lot of the plants that I've shown, they do require a lot of sunlight, and unfortunately where we live, we would probably only get direct sunlight maybe for about an hour max per day. So I went on Amazon, I'll link this below, and purchased this grow light, which has definitely saved my plants. I mainly got this because I was concerned that my plants wouldn't survive the winter, but with this, I'm pretty sure they would do well. And I also got a grow light bulb, which I haven't used just yet. I'm still figuring out, you know, where I wanna, you know, set that up. But this is the tool that I've been using. And before I completely wrap up this video, I'm gonna go ahead and insert a clip of what the grow light looks like at nighttime when I use it. Okay everyone, so here's a look at my nighttime setup. As you can see, I have everything grouped here in one small corner because the light only reaches but so far. So I have my rubber plant here on the floor. I have each of the succulents here on this folding table, and then of course the birds of paradise plant. Because the birds of paradise plant is so tall, unfortunately these taller leaves, you know, don't benefit from the light, but you know, I try to aim it towards the roots as best as I can. Same thing for the rubber plant. I try to hit as many leaves as I can, but I do aim for the roots. And then over here are each of my succulents. They all get to benefit from the light just because, you know, succulents are small. The prongs, you do have the ability to adjust them, you know, to whatever works best for your setup, which I really like. I try to adjust it in a way that, you know, each of the plants get an adequate amount of light. Here I'm going to give you a close-up of the light switch that comes with the grow light. Obviously there at the bottom you have the on-off switch, and then you have the option of adjusting the timing. So you can either have it on for 3 hours, 6 hours, or 12 hours. I have it on the 6-hour setting, that's why it's blinking there. You also have the option of changing the light colors. Let me show you what that means. I'm gonna try to show you the light without aiming the camera directly at the light, but you can switch it to blue light, which promotes healthy leaves, red light, which promotes healthy roots, or a combination of both lights, which is what I typically do. You also have the option of adjusting the light temperature or light intensity from very low to really high. I usually try to keep it in the middle so that I'm not giving the plants too much light exposure. So that is everything. This is what the grow light looks like once it's on at nighttime. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below. Thanks again for watching today's video. Bye.